everyone, welcome to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr, and today I have a energy update for you, some things that I think are worth noting at this time, but also to answer a viewer comment that came through when I was asking if anyone had any questions for Brittany Murphy, who we've been channeling over here for about 6 months now. And this question came in, and the GA swiftly came in to say that they would like to answer this when they felt that it was time. So apologies, there has been a little bit of time between you asking the question and the GA coming forward to answer, but they did come through today. And I hope it makes sense to everyone. I feel like it will. They try to put it as simply as possible, but I think sometimes we understand the energy rather than the words of these things. So try and tune into the energy of what I'm about to share with you. But the question that came through was the Galactic Wars happening between the light against the reptilian order and their alliances. Isn't this just part of infinite source creator experiencing itself for its expansion? And I thought that's a brilliant question to be asking right now. And yeah, I was very excited to see what the GA would bring forward. I felt like I knew the answer to this question, but I think the way that they describe it made it make sense a little bit more to me also, everyone. So they said, the answer here isn't easy to fathom where you are. Of course, everything that is experienced is an expansion for Source. However, if you think of this as a league system, Source has already experienced so much that the layers in between are minor compared to the larger extent. We are in the minor factors of expansion within where we find ourselves now. Source does not need this to be happening to expand. We hope that this makes sense. Much like you on your journey, once you have learnt a lesson, you do not need to learn it again, for you have already attained the level of expansion. Source Creator is an omnipresent force that allows for all possibility, though it does not mean that all possibilities need or should take place. And I think it is quite difficult to understand, exactly what is going on, all of the spaces that we find ourselves in. And yeah, this idea of Source and this ever-growing expansion that we do find ourselves on, it's difficult to put into words. But I think that what the GA was trying to explain is that where we find ourselves right now, of course, it is an expression of Source, but we've gone through so many cycles, we've gone through so many, falls within our planet, that this is just another one that does not need to be experienced at this time. And, I think that we all know by now this reptilian influence has just gone AWOL. And there is a lot of beings out there, other galactic beings, that are really helping all of us here to be able to shift out of this paradigm, because it is just so outdated. As opposed to, the rest of the planetary systems out there, we are almost, we're not functioning in the same way as other planets are, and they are trying to free us from those constraints so that we can, become an intergalactic planet. That's at least, all the information that I've been able to gather on this journey, so that we can be able to, be experiencing other aspects of the universe, other aspects of Source in a very different way and a more free way. And I thought a great question to bring forward, but I think it just brings even more questions from that. So do not hesitate to, comment and ask more questions regarding the answer if that's what you feel called to do, everyone. But I thought, that's a great way to describe it in terms of like a mini league. And we're like in a minor sector of everything that Source has already experienced. And we just don't need to be here as simply as I can put that answer. The GA is just saying it is part of Source Expanse. Absolutely everything is, but it just doesn't need to be happening right here, right now, where we find ourselves, everyone. And I think that we are going to start to see just how, shut off from the rest of the galaxies we have been. And I'm starting to really experience everything right here in my face, in my energy field, like never before. And the energy that comes from that is so loud, is so all-encompassing, is so much of a feeling of being held like I've never experienced before. And I wanted to share today about waking up in different timelines. I feel like of late, every single day, I've been waking up in a different timeline and feeling incredibly different on that day. And I've expressed this before, I've expressed this notion before, but for those that might not have heard it, or for those that might be experiencing it right now, where we find ourselves in this eclipse season where the veil is super duper thin, I think a lot of you are going through extreme expanse. And I realized that I've been living very cyclically my whole life without realizing it, and I would always almost hit a tower moment when it would come to this time of the season. It's autumnal season for the northern hemisphere where I find myself in the UK, and something would always happen that would miraculously and either quite tragically catapult me into a different direction, or something that would be just incredibly magical that I would experience. And then, you know, I would think, did I experience that? Was that something that really happened? Or it would be like my intuition took on a different expanse, and something would happen to make me think like, whoa, like this world is incredible. Something like that would happen my entire life, and then I'd just forget about it, or I'd be catapulted into this next part of my journey, and, you know, I would forget that it came through exactly at that time of year, every single year. So for those of you that might be experiencing, you know, tower moments, things falling away, let it fall away, because this is the time of the year where you're supposed to be experiencing that expanse, and allowing yourself to sink into a space of releasing. And, you know, if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum where you find yourselves in the world, think about how you can be tuning in to the seasons where you find yourself, and how that might be reflecting or mirroring in your journey at this time. And, you know, the Galactics have very much come in and said that they utilize the seasons to work with us, everyone. And, you know, I'm starting to just understand how the fabric of everything is so interwoven that absolutely nothing is is by chance. And it's incredible to me. But this idea of waking up in a different timeline can be very chaotic, can be very confusing, and can feel very disjointed. I feel like I'm experiencing people be very different on a daily basis. And this is people, you know, that I spend my time with often, and it almost feels like a glitch in the matrix at the moment. And I feel like I'm experiencing aspects of other people that are either very much in shadow or very much looking to expand. And I'm having to work, you know, my energy into theirs, into accepting who they are, and, you know, the struggles that they might be experiencing, and how to help them through that, so that when we come out of this season where I find myself, they will be in a much more balanced energy. And I feel like we're hitting a point where we're meeting a lot of people's shadows at this time, those of us that are at least in the northern hemisphere. But this idea of that you connecting energetically. So if you're watching me and my channels, you might be, you know, accessing my space and my cyclical living where I find myself too. So don't be alarmed in that. I think this is just where we find ourselves in our collective healing together. So if you're experiencing people maybe like act really out of character, or just be really mean or really strange, I just want to say, sit in your own energy and send them love. You know, how can you create a space for them to just be expressing what they might be feeling in that moment, you know, as long as they're not harming you, or you know, they're not insulting you in ways that you just don't need to stick around for. Just let them be and send them love. I think don't take things too personally right now. I think there is a lot of people acting out in their shadow, acting out these aspects of self that they are wanting to change. And sometimes this means that they have to express that accent until they realize that, you know, they don't want to be in that energy anymore. And it's 18 on my clock there, and that feels significant for someone. So if you've been sat in chaotic energy with other people and, you know, experiencing them just be a little bit strange or out of character, just let it be, and it's going to be okay, is what I want to share. I think you're going to wake up another day and everything just be completely flipped on its head. And that's where I feel like I am. I feel like some days everything is amazing, people are so light, so airy, and then the other days it's like I'm just walking into people's shadow constantly. And yeah, it's quite a difficult space to navigate, but just keep coming back to your daily practices, keep coming back to sitting with yourself, sitting in your own energy, and just bathing in light. We forget sometimes that energy is around us, that it's you know, it's there for us to be attaining at all times. So just call it in. If you're feeling out of alignment, if you're feeling you know, a little bit stuck, a little bit stagnant or chaotic, or you're feeling just like you're out of balance, you know, ask to be brought back into balance, ask to be receiving light from source, and just imagine that divine light washing over you. And this is something that the Arcturians did in the last channeling that we did with them. We bathed ourselves in this golden light coming down from them. But that can be anything. Set the intention for any energy to be coming into you for what you need at that specific moment. And I know a lot of us are in that time where we're having to give ourselves such radical compassion, such radical self-care for those shadowy aspects of self that we are now healing. And I've definitely been catapulted into a lot of shadow work again, and I've done this time and time again, you know, on my journeys in the last 3 to 4 years, going really, really to the bottom of the depths of everything of me. But I'm experiencing in a very different way this year. And, you know, some of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know that I've literally been to the gates of hell and back within the last couple of years. And this idea of shadow season to me right now is actually experiencing things from my past that aren't as intrinsically spiritually led. So things from my past, you know, that when I wasn't awake, things that I've done in the past that I wasn't proud of, things that are still seeping in from those times that I want to be shaping to make me a better person moving forward, everyone. You know, these ideas of being very reactive to, you know, people's responses towards me, and allowing myself to accept myself exactly as I am. And an affirmation that I've been saying to myself on a daily basis, that I accept my shadow and every aspect of myself exactly as I am. I accept others and their aspects of their shadow exactly as they are, with boundaries. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've had to learn as a collective, is these boundaries with other people, because not only does it allow us to feel safe, but it also allows other people to feel safe. And, you know, if you set a container of boundaries with someone before you engage in, I don't know, a relationship, a conversation, a space in time where you know that you are going to be interacting with someone, it helps you both come into a space that, you know, at an even keel, and also for both parties, yeah, to just feel safe. So some of you out there might need to be kind of reassessing your boundaries with people and what that means right now. And specifically in this season, the veil is so thin between these 2 eclipse moons, so you might need to set stronger boundaries with people, because energies are a little bit wild right now, and people are acting a little bit strange, a little bit out of character, perhaps in extremes. So take a look around. Who might be struggling? Who might be acting out at this time? And where can you set proper boundaries with them so that you feel safe, and that also, you know, they feel seen and heard and acknowledged as well? And I feel like there might be, and I'm having to experience this in my personal space, and I'm finding it incredibly difficult, but sending out so much love to things that are, you know, reactive from other people. So other people's responses to oneself, and, you know, trying to find deep compassion for them in that, you know, because I can see where their growth is happening, why it is happening, but it is incredibly difficult when you are in that space. So for those that might be experiencing that, send it love. Send every situation out there that you have that is challenging love, because that is the highest vibration, to make sure that, you know, it's shifting for the highest light of everyone involved. What else? But this idea of the darkness too, there was a strong sense of things seeping in from the dream time, and this being a specific space where those powers that be out there of a negative influence are trying to, you know, get reactions out of us that are of a sensitive nature. Those of us that are in an expansive path at this time, and that being the easiest space to access us. And this is definitely something that I've experienced this week. And it was actually Anna Maria, our other Light Renegade, that does the Getting Started series and the healing circles with myself. She pointed out that I was doing a lot of energy work with the darkness, and then I had a really horrific dream that just completely sent me sideways, and I woke up feeling like I was maybe like 10 years prior to all of this, and how I felt at that time. And I was in absolute bits, and, you know, I came forward with her with the things that happened in my dream, and I was like, I just feel really confused by this. I can't quite figure it out. And, you know, sometimes my teams of light leave me to just experience these things at a very human level. You know, I'm off here, there, and everywhere in the stratosphere a lot of the time, but sometimes they like me to be very human, to experiencing it in my physical vessel, because I'm transmuting a lot more energy in that way, you know, and this ripples out when you experience things through your physical vessel, when you just feel through the pain, when you just sit through the pain, the confusion, the torment. This ripples out, you know, as a light once you transmute that energy. And she very kindly reminded me that, you I was doing a lot of energy work with darkness the night before, and she was like, I think that this was, a slight attack on where you are. And I thought that makes complete sense. And then my guides and my teams came in to say, absolutely, this is something that you need to share with the collective as well. So just be wary, everyone, of your dreams, and, feel the energy, feel that experience, allow yourself to express it, but don't get stuck in it. And don't get stuck in this apathy right now, in any sadness right now, because this darkness is really trying to hone in at this time, and the veil is so thin, and it's amazing for connecting in with your teams of light, those passed over loved ones that we love. But also this darkness is so close at this time. I've been double, triple battening down the hatches with my protection. I've put salt around my bed, around my pet's bed, around every inch of my doorways and my windows in my house, and around my house as well, everyone. And this might feel a little bit extreme to some people, but for those of you that know that you have been experiencing the darkness in some way, or you've been specifically involved in ritual of some kind or black magic, I would highly suggest to be getting some salt and putting that on all spaces or doorways or entryways of your home, so that you feel a little bit more protected at this time. I have it on my altar spaces, I have it in all spaces where I have all of my divination tools and that sort of thing. So if you've been feeling like, I don't know if I feel safe, I'm not sure about the energies at this time, grab yourself some salt, because that is going to be a great protector. And make sure to be cleansing your house with a smudge stick, with a sage stick, because the energy of the smoke is very, very potent and very it's one of the highest vibrational energies to cleanse with. And this is something that I'm only just starting to come into the full understanding of, and delving into shamanic practices as well. This idea of the smoke just seeping into everything and almost creating this illusion, and it's almost like a confusing space, I think, to those negative energies. So for those that have been feeling the calling to be cleansing a little bit more, grab yourself some sage smudge sticks as well, because that's really going to help you and be able to shift that energy. But I think the last thing that I want to share is, please utilize your tools of divination at this time. Those of you that have been wanting to connect in with your guides, connect into your intuition, grab those crystals, ask for them to be programmed to the highest vibration at this possible time, from your ancestors, from those passed over loved ones that you might, miss at this time, from those other dimensions that are incredibly close to us. It's a potent time to be connecting in with the other. So those that have been wanting to expand, ask for it in now, call it in now, without too much expectation, but also just believing that anything is possible, that magic is possible. I love this time of year, autumnal season, because everyone has got that eye on the magic, and I do feel it in the energy. And there's been a lot of fae energy around, which I've been so grateful for. And just a reminder that, there is so much light out there. And thankfully, I'm fully out of this darkness that I was harboring. And, I feel like a whole new person. And I thought, gosh, I forget how heavy it is when you are in it. You can't remember the light, and to be feeling lighter and lighter each day, coming out of this darkness, and to be where I'm stood now, it's like I can breathe again. So for those that might be feeling like they can't breathe, make sure to be cleansing your energy, make sure to be coming back to your daily practices. And salt baths are incredible as well, everyone. Put some salt into your bath, and just wash away any stagnant energy, any negative energy that might be sticking to you at this time. But there's just a massive message from all teams of light that they want to be connecting in with you as well at this time, everyone. And I think a lot of you out of the collective might be feeling quite disheartened that you've not been able to connecting this much this year. And I think the energies have just been very strange the past couple of years, everyone. And I can very much vouch that if you're tuned in, there's been a lot of dark energy that's been needed to be battled. And I would say, I don't want to say it's better to have not been tuned in, because I feel like that is that's incredibly taking away from those that are in an expansive experience, that want to be engaging. But I think that to be able to be tuning in now and in the future is going to be an easier ride, almost, everyone, is what I want to share. And that's not to take away from your experience, but I think there's been a lot of protection, blockages and divine detours are divine intervention to be making sure that you are, on your highest vibration and on your highest path. And I think there has been a lot of divine protection for a lot of souls out there that haven't been able to connect in, so that they can just experience a lot more light when they can connect in, everyone, is what I want to share. But I think that's all for today. Thank you for the energy update. Sorry, it's a little bit scattered. I'm feeling a little bit like with all the energies, and I think that's a lot of the Fae energy coming in. They definitely slipped in as I was speaking. So I hope that you've been experiencing that energy as well. But I'll be back real soon. Take care.